So go ahead and fill me in on I forgot the name of your dog.
Rooney.
Rooney, yeah. I was gonna say Rue. Okay, Rooney.
Yeah, we call her Rue.
Okay.
She is maybe just over a year and a half, coming up on 2 years now.
Okay.
We have done some very basic training at anything as possible, but she's like very well mannered, very calm, but she's a product of the pandemic. She's here with us, and she hasn't had a ton of like formal training. And so the biggest things for us are pulling on the leash
Mm-hmm.
when we go for walks. It's better if we have the harness on. And then the other thing is just like we get a little worried. She gets so excited with just like jumping. I don't.
Say calm.
What?
I wouldn't say calm.
Yeah.
Describe her as calm. I actually describe her as excitable.
Yeah, she's excitable, but like the biggest thing I think my wife and I are afraid of is just like her jumping up on like a kid or grown up and knocking somebody over. She's not doing it. She doesn't have a mean bone in her body. She's just like very excited and friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say those are probably. Am I forgetting anything?
Yeah, just like the pulling and the jumping and like listening to us when there's distractions.
Yeah. I guess the third thing is we haven't done like a lot of like park hangs or anything like that. And so I don't feel comfortable like letting her off the leash and like trusting her to come back just because she hasn't had a lot of exposure to that. So priority number 1 and 2 are like the pulling and the jumping, and maybe a long-term project would be like getting her like off leash type of stuff.
Okay. Anything else I should know about Rue?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
She's asleep right now.
Okay. What's her breed again?
She's a Goldendoodle.
Oh, okay.
Full size Goldendoodle. She's right here. She's like 55 pounds.
Oh, okay. 55 pounds. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, it sounds pretty simple. Just 16.
I hope it's simple for you. We haven't cracked the code yet.
Yeah. It's just like it's a common case. It's pretty simple. And then you said is she always walked on the harness?
Yeah, I would say if we're gonna go for like any length of walk, we've been trying to put her on the harness, and she'll still pull, but it's better on that. If I'm just taking her out to like our front yard little area, sometimes I'll just clip onto her collar, but that's generally walks we'll put on the harness.
Okay. And if you were to have everything you'd want with Rue, right? Everything's fixed. What would life look like? Like, would you take her to, I don't know, would you want to take her to like an outdoor patio, or do you want her, off, taking on hikes, or do you just need like, the simple stuff like the walking, and then, you want her to have some free time, like, in like the dog parks or like some other parks as well, and just you need to come and call? Like, where do you see yourself, within life with a Rue, if you would have everything you'd want with her?
I mean, it would be nice to be able to like easily take her to a patio. I'd agree with that. With a baby on the way, we'll have our hands a little more full than they have been. So like it would be nice to be able to like call her and feel pretty confident she's going to come back. Yeah, I mean, if we were able to accomplish all of those things, life would be pretty good.
And just be able to have anyone take her for a walk without risking her.
Yeah, body. And just like I think right now with the point, she's stronger than she realizes. So like having one of our parents walk her, like we just get worried about them getting pulled over and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll dive into a little bit about that as well. Okay. Yeah, so the reasons for the question is just to kind of get an idea of how much to kind of give you, right? How much, because we're not going to give you these commands. We're like, yeah, I probably never use that, right? We only give you guys what you're needing and what you're wanting for Rouge training.
Got it.
Okay. And then have you guys done research on us and how we train, our methods, and like the tools we use?
A little bit. I know you utilize the e-collar, and then I know it's varies by age, but I think at her age it would just be e-collar stuff, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. So 6 months, 6 months and older. As soon as the dog, Jesus. Sorry. So as soon as the puppies hit 6 months, they're immediately on e-collar training. No, every dog, right? So even like the shy, timid dogs, fearful dogs, the happy-go-lucky golden retriever, I was on an e-collar. All these dogs are on e-collars, right? Prior to 6 months, it's just food only. Usually, here and there we'll do the e-collar training. Usually it's the owner who has like a discomfort of seeing such a young puppy on an electronic collar, so they're not really a fan of it. Also, the brain is able to kind of understand more about pressure once they reach 6 months. And usually by the time they reach 6 months, the owners have had enough of their dog. Like, yeah, we'll do e-collar training now, because they've been just trying all these other methods, and they're seeing that nothing's really kind of being effective, right? Those other methods are positive only, which is just food only. That's it. We're balanced trainers. We use food, when we want to see something, right? Food is only good, and positive training is only good if you want to see something, right? So pulling on the leash is kind of hard to do that because, maybe Rue is pulling for something. Like maybe she sees a dog. She's like, I want to go sit on that dog. But you have your treat here, right? She's going to be thinking, treat, I can get that later, but this dog I may not see ever again. So I choose the dog, right? So you get that stuff. Behavior cases, food will just not work because we're trying to not see something. So food is telling them to see it again. So it doesn't connect for the dogs there. Were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, when you said seeing other dogs, that is definitely a big trigger for her. She just like gets so excited. She does like the common lay down thing and wait on the dog, and then once they get to her, then she jumps up and is very excited. So yeah, she's definitely definitely interested in food, but I mean, seeing other dogs is probably number one for her.
Yeah. So that's where, low ceiling for positive only. Then we go to, I guess, the next correctional tool, or a step 4 would be prong collar. Prong collars, those like the spiky ones, collar like that, supposed to mimic a dog bite, right? It's a good step forward in the right direction because it now allows you to correct your dog, right? So dogs are physical animals. If Bruno maybe got in a dog's face, too much in their face, or maybe started mounting them, that dog wouldn't say, hey, no, leave it, no, get off, please, right? And they don't give each other treats. It's just, you're going to do this action, you're going to get this consequence, right? Which is maybe like a bite or a growl or something that's very sudden to let Rue know, you don't do that to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So puppies are exposed to physicality super young. There's a video out there on YouTube. It's a cream retriever, I believe. She's walking into a playpen with all her puppies, and she's walking in, and they're all on top of her. They're jumping. They're like, they're very excited. And you start to see her you hear her growl, and she snaps at like 2 of them, and they're all just like, okay. And then you start to see them all just like walk away, and then just kind of lay down and like relax, right?
Yeah.
You think she's telling them that, right? You don't jump on me, right? You're not going to be excited when I come in here. You're going to give me space, and that's all. That's all that was said, right? She's not being mean. She's not overdoing it, right? Sometimes dogs do overcorrect, where it's like they correct, right, that little snap, but then they keep going, and that's just not. That's something behavior in that dog. But she did it appropriately and everything like that, and she just addressed that moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we've never seen any aggression out of her. So just something to point out, I guess.
Yeah. And then usually sometimes prong collars don't work. So like golden retrievers, right? Some golden retrievers, you think, they don't need these tools, e-collars or anything because they're so happy-go-lucky dogs, right? But that's the thing. They're so happy-go-lucky that sometimes they don't perceive threat or they don't understand pressure right away because they're just so goofy. They're whatever, So sometimes an excited golden retriever using a prong collar on them won't be enough power or pressure to override the brain, right? Now, so that's where like an issue can occur. Maybe prong collar is not strong enough to stop the pulling or stop these behaviors. Another con is once you take that leash off, you've lost all control, right? Now you can't, it's very, very difficult to teach recall with a prong collar, right? Because our version of recall is if it's not off leash trained, an off leash recall, it's not recall. There's no use for it, right? There's no point of recall if you can't recall your dog when there's no leash, right?
Yeah.
So that's an issue with prong collar. Then we move on to e-collar. What do you guys know about e-collar?
We have some friends that currently utilize those. So I've never neither of us have personally done it, but vaguely familiar with kind of how it works and how you've got like remote control and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a physical therapist?
Uh-huh.
Have you ever had the TENS unit, a little muscle contractor they put on you?
Yep.
So that same technology is the e-collar. So
Okay.
it's a muscle contractor, right? I'm not sure if this is how they do it now, or I heard they, the physical therapist says, let me know when it's too uncomfortable and they're going up on the levels. Client goes, okay, that's enough. They lower it 2 levels down and they just let the machine do its work. Very similar to how we do dog training when we're working with e-collar. Jesse likes to call it electric, but not electricity. So it's not, we don't press a button and it flows through their body. There's 2 contact points on the collar, and whatever those contact points are touching is what the muscle is what is going to be contracting. So if I had my hand and I was going up on the levels, soon enough you'll start to see my thumb just like twitch like that because it's a muscle contract. I'm going higher and higher and higher, right? They're waterproof. They have a mile-long range. Our brand we like to use is called Dogtra. Dogtra we have the remote, like you said, and our remote goes all the way up to 127. So we have a 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 127, right? There are other brands and models out there that maybe go up to 10, right? So think of their 10, their maximum level, the power outage equal power like outlet, I think it's the same power is equal to our 127, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have so many more numbers to be more specific to the dog, the breed, personality, or like the situation scenario we're in, right? So issues you'd have with that 10 level collar is that maybe 5, right? We're getting Rue at 5 and Rue's yelping. It's too much. Okay, let's try 4. 4, she's not reacting. She doesn't care. It's too little, too low. If we're having that issue, 40 is too low, 50 is too high, we can just go to 45 or 42 or 43. We can be specific. Any questions so far about the electronic collar?
Nope.
So for Rue, it's just teaching her how electronic works, how it turns off, how it turns on, and that she's the one in control, right? She'll never know that you're the one pressing the button. So some owners have the concern of, I don't want my dog to hate me because I'm, pressing the button. She'll never know it's you. She's thinking it's like the universe is just happening, right? With prong collar and these other tools, there's a leash attached to the tool. So let's say you were going to give pressure. She sees this as you, like this leash is you. And
yeah, that makes sense.
Happening. So she's like, okay, this is clearly you're doing, right? With the e-collar, there's nothing connecting you to the collar or the remote. So, Rue won't lose her goofiness personality if she has any, she's the goofy girl, right? She'll still be goofy. She'll still like you guys and, love you and everything like that. But what else? Some common questions we have about the electronic collar or training in general is that, okay, so once we do the training, like, will we still need the e-collar or does it come off at a certain time or is it on forever? How does that go? Right. So it's on when you need it. So if you're gonna go for a walk, it'd be on, right? Because we can't, and this is after training, right? We can't predict what's gonna happen on this walk. So let's say we're walking, you know, on a busy street, and then like a car crash happens, like something happens suddenly, like oh whoa, you know, and then maybe you get caught off guard, and then Rue gets like startled, and then she's like, I'm gonna run, and
Yeah.
then you're caught off guard, so then the leash like slips out your hand, or we've had incidents where like dog is running out of nowhere, and like the owners get like pulled to the ground, and then the leash is gone, then the dog is gone, right? So if that happens, Rue come or any treat won't make her come in that moment because she's in flight mode. When dogs are in flight mode, they're literally thinking kill or be killed. So we need to have enough power to override the brain in that moment to get her to come back. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So the e-collar is there for emergencies because we don't know what's going to happen on these walks. Let's say in the home, Rue's an angel. She's just always chilling out, sleeping and everything like that. Then you don't need the e-collar. Let's say you're gonna have guests come over, and Rue gets a little jumpy at first, so you collar up
Sure.
30 minutes prior, address whatever that is needed to be addressed, and then if you find that she is pretty much settled throughout the night and you don't need to press that button anymore, you can take the e-collar off. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep.
So like I said, it's on when you need it. Another common question is, how come when we take the e-collar off, Rue starts to jump again, or maybe she, does something that we've already addressed? Why is she doing that again, right? So we like to use the example of, like, do you guys drive on the highway?
Mm-hmm.
Do you go the speed limit?
Sometimes.
And usually what happens when we see a squat car?
Yeah, you slow down.
Right. It's called opportunistic behavior. It's a nature thing, right? It has nothing to do with the training, the e-collar, or like the way you guys practice, or however you use the e-collar. It's just nature, right? If we know we can get away with something, we're going to get away with it. We'll give you other, tools and methods to so that you're using them to not be so reliant on the e-collar. But we'll play that by ear, see how Riz doing everything like that. What else? Any other questions so far?
No.
Okay. So were you guys thinking in person, one-on-one, a board and train, or like a daycare train?
So I guess I played around online, and we're in Lincoln Park. We're not too far from Oz Park. I don't know if that's an option, and how that generally works, if that's one-on-one or like in a group. But we're kind of in a unique situation right now where we have a little one coming anytime now, and so I'd just be curious, like, how quickly we could get something booked, and like what you recommend in terms of like training versus like group training, I guess.
Yeah. So currently we do not have any group training. It's just the one-on-one. So it'd be like you.
I think we're probably sort of leaning towards one-on-one in general. So
yeah, we operate at Oz Park now, so all our one-on-ones are there. We have the 6-week program, a 9-week program, and a 12-week program. You'd most likely be around just like the 6-week program. So 2 classes would cover the jumping, the pulling, and like the excitement. The next 2, which is called heal, it's a walk with me command. The next 2 classes would be recall. It's commonly called to kind of address that uncertainty of will she come back if we call her or if we let her off leash, right? The next 2 classes are, we can teach you like a stationary command, or, if we're struggling with recall, we can do like another class focusing on recall, however you want to go about that. We also have a 3-week program, right? So the 3-week program is, 1 class just focusing on the heel, which covers jumping and pulling, and then the next 2 classes is recall. Now, sometimes owners have like the question of like, why would me teaching my dog how to walk on a leash address pulling, jumping, and all these other things, right? Do you know the difference between obedience and behavior?
Sort of. Tell me.
So look at obedience and behavior for dogs. The human ways, look at obedience like math, science, English, social studies, and then behaviors like don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat.
Mhm.
So always have the question like, why would that work out and everything like that. So you can have like a bad student but a good person, or you can have a good person and a bad student, right? So you wouldn't teach like a serial killer math problems so that he can stop killing people, right? They don't connect, right? But for us, the reason why our obedient command heal, walk with me safely, sit when I stop, when we take 5 steps, Root takes 5 steps. If we take 10, Root takes 10, would kind of fix the jumping, the pulling, and like the staring at dogs and wanting to go say hi is because of the idea behind the heel of how we teach it, right? Our heel is so strict, right, that she wouldn't be focused on dogs or doing those other things because she's like, I need to watch dad where he's going. My right shoulder needs to be glued to his left leg. If that leaves, there's gonna be consequence. I need to be that focused so that nothing else matters, just dad, right? And then also sometimes we get clients who have those dogs for like we take our dog for like 3 hours for a walk, and like we come home and she's still excited, right? What's going on? So that's called overstimulation. That's also addressed because we're having Rue focus mentally on being in a certain position and focusing on us versus using a leash and forcing her to be in a position, right? So she's mentally making the choice to be next to us. So sometimes that is super tiring for dogs. It's exhausting to be that focused on the walks. So they come home tired. In general, sometimes dogs just their excitement level starts to dip down, so they become a more calmer dog in that sense. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's personal preference on like how you guys would want to go about your program. If you want in person, we do in person at Oz Park. Like I said, 6 week. Like I said, 2 classes heal, 2 class recall, 2 extra classes for whatever you want to focus on, and then 3 week is just like, here's the walking command of what you need to know, and then here's like the recall.
Obviously, 6, we're gonna get, probably better results and all of that.
Yeah.
Since I'm just kind of curious, like w- with a dog like Rue and knowing what like how much of a difference are we going to see 3 weeks versus 6 weeks? And either my internet or his internet went up.
Oh, I can
can
hear
you
you.
hear me?
Yeah.
Um,
I think it'd be, like you said, it'd just be more sharpened. That's all. Like that first class is just teaching you how to walk with Rue with the e-collar. The second class on heel is like more specifics. Um, but then like there's also that chance of like, yeah, we're still struggling with the leash walking. Like we're still, she's still wanting to say hi to dogs. And then if we choose a 3 week program, then like, all right, we only have, we need more wiggle room, right? So 6 week also allows more wiggle room, and it goes into, like you said, more in depth with these commands. Um, you just get a sharper dog, more reliable. But here and there, we'll get those owners who are like, I'm just trying to get my dog to walk, and I need common call. I don't need anything else that's fancy or whatever, and that's what's for them. But I think for your case, baby on the way, parents are walking the dog. I think the 6 week might work for you, since I'm thinking about these other things, right? Another thing I'd probably recommend for you is maybe purchasing a prong collar for Root. Um, Things happen. You turn the corner, dog's there, right? So prong collar, we wouldn't need to teach Rue how to walk on a prong. Prong collar would only be there for emergencies to handle her, right? So sometimes, you can't react fast enough to the remote, the collar, and like you turn the corner, there's a dog there, right? Since Rue's a pretty big golden doodle, right? The flat collar, wouldn't be enough control. Also, we wouldn't have you working with a harness anymore. It'd just be the flat collar, because one tool is telling her to pull, the other tool is telling her to not pull, so it gets confusing.
Got it.
So if she's on the flat collar, it's harder to control because you don't have any tool to kind of control her, especially for your parents if you're a little older, So the prong collar, we have a dog who's on a prong collar right now with an older couple. It's just to like, if she does maybe get startled and she runs, right? She's going to hit the end of the prong collar, and it's going to correct her for that, so that there's some sort of consequence for running or lunging or something like that if they're not quick enough to react to the remote. Does that make sense? It's not required. It's just recommended because just in case that were to happen.
Got it. For the e-collars, is that something we purchase on our own? Do we purchase it through you, or how does that work?
Yeah, so you can purchase it yourself through Amazon. So after this consultation, I'll send you guys a follow-up email. The programs we talked about, the prices, the e-collar I recommend for Rue, and a link to Amazon for you to purchase on your own, or you can purchase through us. They're both the same price. Usually the in-persons clients tend to purchase the collar themselves so that they have it before training. They can fiddle around with it and everything like that. And come training, they have some sort of knowledge already on the e-collar.
Got it.
But like I said, you're more than welcome to purchase through us. We had another client who purchased through us and they came, picked it up, and they left. So you can do that as well. And then I'll also send you guys in the follow-up email an agreement form that needs to be signed. Once that is signed, we can begin billing and booking. We can start training after that.
Got it. And then, so let's say 6 week at Oz Park with you, thumbs up. How quickly, or, you know, we could be going to the hospital like today, tomorrow, we don't know. So how quickly should we get something booked, or how far booked out are you even?
I'm not sure at the moment. I work with your availability. So
Okay.
you'll give me your availability, and then like I'll look at my calendar and see like, okay, I can do this, or we can
Okay.
out like that.
Got it. I just feel bad if we like have to wait a couple weeks, or like we want to get started as soon as possible, but the next week or two might be a little hectic on our end. So it might, I don't know, it might be like a mid-July situation or something like that.
Yeah. And then you weren't thinking about board and trains or daycare and trains, right? You want to do that in person.
I think I'd like to be there. I personal preference, I guess, but
Yeah.
I think that's the route we'd probably go.
Okay, sounds good. So for example, if you choose a 6-week program, right? Sundays, 1 p.m., an hour a week, and you get 7 Sundays at 1 p.m., right? That 7th Sunday is just in case, something were to happen, like the baby came or something like that, right? You have that extra slot that no one can take away from you, and it's reserved for you. Once that slot is used, you have to wait to kind of get back on the calendar again. And with me, it'll be fine. Like I have a lot of availability right now, so it wouldn't be an issue to get back on the calendar. But yeah, Sunday 1 p.m. The 7 Sundays at 1 p.m. A week, and then it's all verbal coaching. So we don't touch the dog. We're just telling you what to do, how to handle Rue and what to do with the econ and all these things, so that you're getting all this knowledge, yourself from the ground up, and you're learning how to troubleshoot. You're learning how to use all these other things as well. Econ is also transferable. So when we work with couples, right, partner number 1 goes first. They're going to do all the hard work because they're going first, right? Then they hand the leash and the remote to partner number 2. Once they go, it is super easy. It's like they didn't have to do anything, right? Because when you press a button on 30, and then your wife presses the button, or your parents press the button on 30, it's the same reaction, right? There's no, well, he's stronger, so he has more control and she listens better to her, right? There's none of that, because like I said, 30 is same for every single person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's very transferable. Any other questions?
No.
Trying to think if there's any other common questions I've been asked.
Do you get rain if we have a weather situation at Oz Park? How does that work?
Yeah, if it gets rained, we can either just postpone that class or cancel, or we can meet at the facility and just continue the session here. So that can be arranged as well.
Okay.
What else? Everything is recorded, so if you want your parents to kind of get familiar with it, you can just send them a video and they watch it, like, okay, that's how it works, okay, and then they get like a head start and everything like that. Or if you want to freshen up and then now you need, like, say you get a dog walker, right? You can send your videos to the dog walker, or you can request the videos and like teach your dog walker how to use the e-collar remote and all these other things.
Cool.
Yeah. Any questions?
No. I think we're excited to do it. The hardest part right now is just logistics of our life. So if you don't mind sending the follow-up, it might be a couple days until I look at it. And then once we like sign, do all that, then we can lock in some dates and times, it sounds like.
Yes. We also offer boarding here. So I think we had another situation where a client had a baby and they just boarded their dog here. And then, like, our handlers here reinforce e-collar stuff and everything. So if that's an option you would want, you're thinking about, we also would help you with that as well.
All right, that's good to know.
What else? Trying to see if I missed anything. Pulling, jumping, excited behavior, staring at dogs. You said she's a year and a half, right?
I'm sorry, what?
You said she's a year and a half, right?
Yeah, she'll be 2 end of September. So she's over a year and a half.
So she's pretty much done growing, right?
Yeah, she's done growing.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all, Will. If any questions come up, feel free to email me and I'll answer questions. Other than that, keep an eye out for that follow-up email. It should be sent either tonight or tomorrow.
No rush. I just didn't want you to think I was leaving you hanging if I didn't respond for a couple days or something.
No, it's understandable. It's we don't, we do our part. We give you the information here. Whenever you're ready to sign up, let me know when you're ready. There's no, there's no like rush into it. It's all up to you guys when you're ready.
Cool. Sounds good. I appreciate the time, Enrique.
For sure. Awesome. It's nice speaking with you, Will. Again, if anything comes up, let me know. Other than that, have a great night.
Thank you. You too. I'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Have a good one. Bye.